The main material in all of our kits is MDF, which stands for medium density fiberboard. Basically, it's a product that is sawdust mixed with some glue and then pressed into panels. During the lasering process, the laser is so hot it actually vaporizes the glue and it leaves a little bit of a residue. You can see the discoloration between here and here. This will come off with a baby wipe, or if you get a paper towel, get it wet and wring all the moisture out of it and then just go over it, it'll come off real easily. However, you do want to be careful that we've got some very fine areas like in these windows that you want to stay away from them because it's very easy to chip them off. Also, from time to time, pieces will still be stuck in here even though they've been cut free. All you need to do is just get an X-Acto knife and just push on them and they will pop right out and you'll get your window area. When gluing your kits together, we use 5-minute epoxy. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's two-part. You mix it up, you put it on, and in 5 minutes it's glued and you are good to go. You can use super glue, but we advise against it because basically as soon as you touch those two pieces together, if it's not exactly where you want it, then it's glued and you're stuck. The 5-minute epoxy gives you some time if you need it to make sure that you've got things where you want it. We do not recommend the wood PVA glue. The main reason for that is the biggest thing with MDF is you want to make sure that you keep it dry. If it gets wet, it'll swell and just turn into a great big mess. And unfortunately, the PVA glues like the Elmer stuff has too much liquid in it. The other thing when you're putting these together is make sure that you dry fit your pieces, that you're putting them together before you glue them to make sure that they go together. 9 times out of 10 they'll fit just fine, but if you need to do any trimming or anything else like that, it's best to know that before you've got your glue on it. When you get your kits, depending upon which kit you have, you'll either have one of two areas. Areas where it's been rastered, where it's been dug out here, or areas where it's just been engraved upon. Any area here where it's just been engraved upon, MDF takes paint fine. You do not need to prime it, but these areas here that have been rastered do need to be primed. Basically, the protective coat is removed and it'll really suck up a lot of paint. We recommend that you use a brush primer on this. Sprays, for whatever reason, tend not to quite do as well. The best product that you can get to prime these areas is a product called Gesso. You can find it in your any art supply store, craft store, things like that. It's actually designed to work with paper products and seal everything up, and you'll get a really nice finish when you're using that. The other thing with this is you can use the GW, the privateer paints, or anything else like that, but there's a lot of volume on this, and you'll go through those bottles really quick. The dollar craft store paints also work real well with this. The main thing that you want to do, though, is don't put it on heavy, because remember, like we said earlier, MDF does not like water. All right, so if you just go and slop the paint on it, it's going to soak it in, it could expand and make a mess of things. The other main material that we use is this. It's called gray board. Basically, it's a heavy-duty cardboard. The main thing with working with gray board is it's like the MDF where it doesn't like to get wet. The 5-minute epoxy works well to glue with it. And when you're painting it, you definitely want to go ahead and prime these before that you paint it. And again, the best primer to use for that is Gesso. Just nice light coats, and then you won't lose any of the detail work. Also with these, when they're cut, they create a lot of soot along the edges, and your hands can get kind of real dirty real quick. You just take a dry paper towel and wipe it off. That'll clean all that up and make things a little bit cleaner when you work.